What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive into our first news. Dominick Cruz has given his bold prediction for the UFC 321 main event between Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane. Speaking on the Anik and Florian podcast, Cruz didn't hold back when breaking down the matchup, confidently stating that Gane has no real chance of beating Aspinall and that the fight will end very quickly. When asked if he expects a short fight, Cruz replied without hesitation. "I do, yeah," he said. "When I watch the film, have you seen Tom Aspinall's last 5 fights? They're all one-round fights. It's crazy. He's an animal." Cruz praised Aspinall's timing and movement, describing him as a fighter who's completely in rhythm inside the cage. "He's rhythmic," Cruz continued. "The only other person who fights with that kind of rhythm is Gane, but the problem is, he can't wrestle." Although Cruz clarified that he wasn't trying to be disrespectful, he stood by his analysis that Gane's lack of wrestling ability will be his downfall. "Look, from a promoter's side, I'll tell you what people see," Cruz said. "Ciryl Gane moves so well, he hits hard, he's athletic, and he can switch stances. He's a real threat. That's the promoter's pitch." Then Cruz shifted to his analyst perspective. "But as an analyst, I'm telling you, he has no chance. He's going to get guillotined just like he did by John Jones. He's going to get stuffed in the corner and beat down." According to Cruz, Aspinall's combination of speed, power, and grappling makes him a nightmare matchup for anyone, especially for a striker like Gane, who struggles to defend takedowns. With that confidence, Cruz made it clear he expects Tom Aspinall to finish the fight quickly and decisively, leaving no room for doubt. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Dustin Poirier recently shared his prediction for the heavyweight main event between Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane, which headlines UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi. Speaking in an interview with Mike Bond, Poirier gave an honest breakdown of how he expects the fight to play out, showing respect for both men, but ultimately leaning toward Tom getting the win. Poirier explained that in the heavyweight division, anything can happen, especially with 4-ounce gloves. "Besides a shot that Tom doesn't see coming and him getting caught, I think this fight goes into the later rounds," he said. "Heavyweights can change everything with one punch, but outside of that, I see it becoming a real test of endurance." He went on to analyze how conditioning could play a big role in determining the winner. "If Tom starts gasping for air in the 4th or 5th round, Ciryl has the skill and experience to capitalize," Poirier noted. "He's been there before. He knows how to stay calm and pick his moments. If Tom slows down, Ciryl can step on the gas, hurt him, and maybe even finish the fight." However, despite acknowledging Gane's experience and technical ability, Poirier made it clear that he believes Aspinall's youth, speed, and composure could make the difference. "Those later minutes are going to be huge," he said. "But if I had to make a pick, even though I'm not 100% sold on Tom yet, I still think he's going to win the fight." With both fighters having something to prove, Poirier's prediction adds even more anticipation to what's expected to be one of the most exciting heavyweight matchups of the year. Moving on to another news, former flyweight champion Demetrious Johnson, better known as Mighty Mouse, has shared some strong words of advice for Mario Bautista ahead of his upcoming clash with Umar. As one of the most experienced and respected fighters in MMA history, Johnson knows what it takes to compete at the highest level, and he believes Bautista's biggest challenge won't just be Umar's skills, it will be his mindset stepping into the cage. Speaking about the fight, Johnson explained that too many fighters lose before the first punch is even thrown. He said many opponents of Umar walk into the octagon already mentally defeated, overwhelmed by the reputation of the Nurmagomedov name and the legacy of Khabib. According to Mighty Mouse, that kind of thinking needs to change if Bautista wants to stand a real chance. "Too many guys get in there and they're already beaten mentally," Johnson said. "They see the name, they think about Khabib, and they start fighting the name instead of the man in front of them. That's the wrong approach." Johnson went on to break down what Bautista must do to turn the tide. "He has to treat Umar as his own fighter, not as part of Team Khabib," he continued. "You can't go in there thinking, oh, this guy trains with Khabib, he's unbeatable. No, you've got to go forward, fight him as an individual, and not let the aura of that name control you." Johnson reminded fans that this kind of psychological trap isn't new. "You saw the same thing back in the day with Anderson Silva," he said. "Fighters would walk in there already nervous, already accepting defeat, thinking, oh, this is Silva, he's supposed to beat me. That's exactly what happens with guys fighting Umar. They give him too much respect." He advised Bautista to stay aggressive and confident from the very first second. "Do not respect the name," Johnson emphasized. "Go forward, march him down, and believe you belong there. A lot of people doubt Mario, but I think he's starting to believe he's earned this shot. He's on the main card now, facing a guy with a legendary background. and that shows he's worthy of being there. Johnson added that the key will be taking initiative early and not letting Umar dictate the pace. If you let Umar decide what happens, you'll always be a step behind, he said. But if you jump into the fight before he gets going, make him react to you, then he's the one that'll be chasing. You can't wait and play defense against someone like him. You have to take the fight to him. With those words, Demetrius Johnson made it clear that mental strength will be just as important as physical preparation for Bautista. His message was simple: forget the name, forget the legacy, and fight the man standing across the cage. Moving on to another news, Ciryl Gane has made things a lot more interesting ahead of UFC 321 by predicting that his upcoming fight with Tom Aspinall will be an all-out dogfight. The French heavyweight isn't shying away from what's expected to be one of the most explosive matchups of the year. Both fighters have openly admitted that this could easily turn into a war, given how technical and precise their striking styles are. They're not just power punchers, they're two of the slickest and most skilled heavyweights on the roster. However, when it comes to experience in deep waters, Ciryl definitely has the edge. He's shared the cage with elite names like John Jones and Francis Ngannou, fighters who've pushed him to his limits. On the other hand, Tom Aspinall's fights rarely last long. The British champion has a reputation for quick, dominant finishes, and he currently holds the record for the shortest average fight time in UFC history. That stat alone raises an interesting question. How will he perform if the fight stretches beyond the early rounds? According to Ciryl, that's exactly his plan. He wants to drag Aspinall into deeper waters, use his superior movement, and control the distance to wear him down. During interviews, Ciryl confidently stated that his goal is to make the fight long, tactical, and exhausting for the champion, but that strategy didn't seem to bother Aspinall at all. When asked about it during media day, he laughed it off, saying that everyone who ever talked about taking him into deep waters ended up getting knocked out in the first minute. His confidence remains unshaken, and his track record speaks for itself. With both men believing in their own strengths and fully aware of what the other brings to the table, UFC 321 is shaping up to be one of the most technical and high-paced heavyweight fights in recent years. The fans can expect fireworks right from the opening bell. When Ciryl was asked whether he expects the fight to go into the championship rounds, he remained calm and realistic. "Maybe we will see," he said. "I'm not a magician, but like I did before, I can finish the fight in the first or second round, or maybe we can go for 25 minutes. I'm ready for everything." He further added that he hopes the fight turns into a real dogfight, because that's the kind of challenge he craves. "I expect it, and I hope it's going to be a dogfight at first, for me, because it's a big challenge. I want to feel this, and also for the fans and the crowd," he said with a smile. When Ciryl was asked about Alex Pereira potentially moving up to heavyweight, he didn't hesitate to praise him. "Very well," Ciryl said. "He's a dangerous guy. You can see how he's built. He came from middleweight to light heavyweight, and I think he can do heavyweight too. He'll be on the lighter side, but still really dangerous." He even added, "I'm a business guy too, so I understand every compartment. This guy, he's smart. He knows what he's doing." Moving on to another news, UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall's father, Andy Aspinall, has made some surprising comments about his son's future in the sport. Although Tom has quickly become one of the most dominant forces in the heavyweight division, his father doesn't see him staying in the UFC for too long. In a recent interview with RMC Sport Combat, Andy revealed that Tom has only 3 fights left on his current contract, and he isn't too keen on seeing his son re-sign once it's over. Instead, he believes that Tom's future, and the real money, lies in the world of boxing. Andy explained that while he's incredibly proud of Tom's achievements in MMA, he's always envisioned him becoming a boxing champion. "Boxing for sure," Andy said when asked which path he'd prefer for his son. "The money, more money. Why not?" His reasoning was simple. The financial rewards in boxing far exceed those in mixed martial arts, and as a father, he wants to see Tom secure his future while he's still in his prime. When pressed about Tom's contract situation, Andy confirmed that his son has just 3 fights remaining on his current UFC deal. "It's 3 more fights on the contract now," he said, "and I don't want him to sign a new one. Personally, I think after those fights, he should move on." Andy mentioned that they don't like to plan too far ahead. "We only ever think about one fight at a time," he added. "Win or lose, we focus on the next one. That's how we've always done it." He also revealed that Tom has never been obsessed with setting records or chasing long-term UFC milestones. He always talks about Stipe Miocic and his 3 title defenses, Andy said. People ask if Tom would go for 4, but he said no. It's not about that. It's about the next fight, the next challenge. Andy's comments hint at a potential shift in Tom's career direction after his current UFC run. The heavyweight champion has already shown world-class striking and boxing fundamentals inside the octagon, making a transition to professional boxing a realistic option. With crossover fights becoming more common and boxers earning massive paydays, it's easy to see why Andy believes the move would be the right one. Before wrapping up, Andy expressed full confidence in his son's ability to dominate another sport. "I'm excited to say that Tom will be a boxing champion by 2026, he stated proudly. Whether or not Tom follows that path remains to be seen, but one thing is clear. His father believes his journey inside the ring has only just begun. Moving on to another news. Conor is currently in Rome, Italy for BKFC 83, which is set to take place this Saturday. In the lead up to the event and his much anticipated return to the UFC, the Notorious opened up about something deeply personal, his faith and the spiritual path he's been walking. Known worldwide for his fiery personality, brash confidence, and unmatched ability to sell a fight, this time, fans witnessed a very different side of Conor. During Thursday's press conference, he appeared calm, collected, and spiritually grounded, showing a new layer of himself that many didn't expect to see. As the cameras rolled, Conor spoke openly about how his faith has reignited the fire inside him, giving him clarity and purpose both in life and in his career. He shared that he's been on a spiritual journey, one that has changed his outlook, and restored the competitive spark that once burned inside his heart. "I'm not here just by chance," he said firmly, his tone filled with conviction. "There is a higher power, God, that dictates my journey, and all of our journeys. I live my life by God's word." His words carried the weight of someone who has looked inward and found peace after years of chaos, fame, and controversy. Reflecting on the turning point that led him to this path, Conor explained that since that time, he's felt renewed and transformed. "I've engaged on a spiritual journey, and I'm saved. I am healed," he continued, "and on the back of that, the world is in for a treat. My competitive spark that was once in my heart is now a roaring blaze. I'm very excited." The once unpredictable showman now spoke like a man who had rediscovered his purpose and his love for the fight game as he looked toward the athletes. Sitting beside him on the dais, Conor admitted that he envied them, seeing the hunger and focus in their eyes as they prepared to step into the ring. "I envy these men up here," he said with a smile. "They're about to make weight, and they're about to go in, enjoy, and entertain. To do what they were called to do, as am I called to do it." His words resonated with a sense of appreciation for the sport that made him a global superstar. This version of Conor isn't about loud declarations or wild antics. It's about a man who's found strength in humility and passion through faith. He's rediscovered his fire, not through anger or rivalry, but through belief and discipline. With his competitive spirit blazing once again, Conor looks ready to step back into the octagon and remind the world exactly who he is: a fighter, a believer, and a man on a mission. Moving on to another news, Dana White has officially shut down the talks about a potential showdown between Ilia and Paddy Pimblett happening in January. Fans have been buzzing online for months, speculating that the long-awaited grudge match could finally take place early next year. However, according to the UFC president, that's not the case right now. In a recent interview with TNT Fight Sports, Dana was asked directly about how close the fight is to becoming a reality. Without hesitation, he made it clear that nothing has been finalized yet. "We're always exploring lots of different things," Dana said. "Listen, obviously it's a fun fight. People would love to see that, but as of right now, no, we haven't made that fight. We're still trying to figure out what's next for Ilia." Dana's response puts an end to the growing buzz that this rivalry could headline a big card in January. Ilia, who recently captured massive attention with his rise in the featherweight division, has repeatedly expressed interest in facing Paddy, while the British star continues to build his name with a loyal fan base and entertaining fights. The tension between them has been brewing for years, fueled by trash talk, interviews, and viral moments that kept fans hooked. While it's clear the fight would draw massive attention and deliver fireworks inside the octagon, it seems UFC isn't ready to pull the trigger just yet. For now, both fighters remain without a confirmed opponent, and Dana White's comments make it clear that fans might have to wait a little longer to see Ilia and Paddy settle their rivalry once and for all. Moving on to another news, the duo of Bisping and Daniel Cormier delivered one of the funniest moments during the UFC 321 morning weigh-in show. Known for their great chemistry and quick wit on camera, the two legends decided to take part in a hilarious "not my arms" challenge that had everyone in stitches. In this segment, Bisping pretended to be Cormier's hands, trying to feed him without actually seeing what he was doing, and what followed was pure comedy gold. It all started with Bisping enthusiastically saying, "Let's cover them up. Alright, how about some cereal to start? It's breakfast time." With a big grin on his face, he tried feeding Cormier, who struggled to stay in character as he burst into laughter. "There you go, get it in you, DC," Bisping said as cereal went everywhere. Cormier, trying not to choke broke from laughing, replied, "Oh, you like that? Good. A little bit more, just a little bit more." The crowd around them couldn't stop laughing as Bisping clumsily tried to get the spoon into Cormier's mouth, creating a hilarious mess. "Okay, that was breakfast," Bisping said confidently. "Now how about some lunch?" "Don't worry, Michael. Some wings, Michael. Some wings," he joked, realizing he was talking to himself in third person. As the segment continued, Cormier shouted, "Let go of my arms! Why are your hands so tight? Stop squeezing!" Bisping, laughing uncontrollably, tried to guide the chicken wings toward Cormier's mouth but ended up making a complete mess instead. "Eat the chicken, baby," he yelled while Cormier played along, pretending to enjoy the chaos. "Finger licking good," Cormier said, laughing between bites. The chemistry between the two was perfect. Bisping's exaggerated hand movements and Cormier's reactions made the whole challenge feel like a comedy sketch. At one point, Bisping yelled, "Reach! He's got a hold of my arm," as both of them tried to keep straight faces but completely failed. The set was filled with laughter from the production crew and fans watching the live stream. As the laughter died down, Bisping decided to push things even further. "I think he needs to wash it down with some beer," he said, pretending to open a bottle. "Let me open it for you." "There you go, beer." Cormier quickly corrected him, saying, "Water, water," but it was too late. Bisping made Cormier tilt the imaginary bottle too far, spilling fake beer everywhere. "More, oh good! Good, warrior!" Bisping shouted, completely losing control from laughter. The Not My Arms challenge between Bisping and Cormier became an instant highlight from the UFC 321 coverage. Fans flooded social media with clips and memes of the hilarious moment, calling it one of the best interactions ever seen between the two former champions. Their ability to blend humor, personality, and genuine friendship made the segment unforgettable, proving once again why Bisping and Cormier remain two of the most entertaining figures in the MMA world.